Somewhere in the Gobi Desert, a machine is running that shouldn't exist. American scientists invented it in 1969. American scientists abandoned it in 1969. China spent the next 50 years quietly rebuilding it. And in November 2025, this machine did something no reactor on Earth has ever done before. It turned a common metal, one you can literally scrape out of mining waste, into unlimited nuclear fuel. Just one mine in China contains enough of this metal to power the entire country for 60,000 years. Not 60, not 600, 60,000 years. If this technology works at scale, the entire $4 trillion global oil industry loses its grip on power forever. Saudi Arabia, Russia, Texas oil fields, all of it becomes obsolete. And here's the part American executives never saw coming. The technology to do this was stolen straight from a US laboratory, while nobody in Washington was paying attention. This is the story of the biggest energy revolution in human history, and the biggest strategic mistake America has ever made. The 1969 secret America gave away. Picture this scene. Oak Ridge National Laboratory, Tennessee, 1969. A team of American nuclear scientists stands in front of what looks like a giant metal tank. Inside that tank is a working nuclear reactor that runs on a liquid metal called molten salt and uses a fuel called thorium. It cannot melt down. It produces almost no dangerous waste. It's cheap. It's safe. It's genuinely the future of energy sitting right there in a Tennessee laboratory. Then a phone call comes in from Washington. The program is being canceled. Why? Because thorium can't easily be turned into nuclear weapons. And in 1969, at the height of the Cold War, the American government wanted reactors that produced material for bombs, not reactors that produced only clean electricity. Uranium won that political fight. Thorium lost. The Oak Ridge scientists watched their life's work get shut down and locked away in filing cabinets marked classified. For over 40 years, the thorium research sat in classified U.S. archives collecting dust. Then in 2011, a delegation of Chinese scientists visited Oak Ridge. They asked for permission to read the declassified thorium papers. American officials shrugged and said yes. Why would they care? Nobody had touched that research in decades. It was ancient history. Just old papers gathering dust on shelves. The Chinese team could take copies home if they wanted. That decision might turn out to be the biggest strategic mistake in American energy history, because the Chinese scientists who read those papers took them home. They studied every equation, every diagram, every failed experiment. They spent the next 14 years rebuilding what America threw away. And what they built with that information is now sitting in the Gobi Desert, quietly rewriting who controls energy on planet Earth for the next century. Every barrel of oil Saudi Arabia sells, every ruble Russia earns from natural gas, every dollar Exxon makes from refining crude. All of it is now sitting on borrowed time, because of research America gave away for free. The man who saw it coming first. There's a name most Americans have never heard of that deserves to be told in this story. Alvin Weinberg. He was the director of Oak Ridge National Laboratory from 1955 to 1973. He personally invented some of the key concepts behind modern nuclear reactors. He was, without exaggeration, one of the greatest nuclear scientists in American history. And Alvin Weinberg was the man who tried to save the thorium program. Throughout the 1960s, Weinberg begged Washington politicians to fund thorium reactor development. He wrote papers, he gave speeches, he testified before Congress multiple times. His argument was simple: thorium reactors were safer than uranium reactors. Thorium was more abundant. Thorium produced less waste. Thorium couldn't easily be weaponized. Every technical measurement favored thorium, except the one thing Washington actually wanted, which was plutonium for atomic bombs. In 1973, the US government fired Alvin Weinberg. His crime? Publicly warning about the safety risks of the uranium reactor designs Washington had chosen instead. He was removed from Oak Ridge for being right too loudly. He spent the rest of his career warning about a future America was building without safety protections. Almost nobody in Washington listened. Weinberg died in 2006. He never saw the day China would take his life's work, his rejected, dismissed, canceled research, and turn it into the most important energy breakthrough of the 21st century. But if there's a lesson buried in this whole story, it's this: sometimes the people who see the future clearest are the ones we choose not to hear. America had Alvin Weinberg. America had the Oak Ridge Reactor. America had the head start of a lifetime. And America threw all of it away because a metal that couldn't make bombs wasn't useful enough for a country obsessed with Cold War weapons. Now that decision is coming back with interest. The mine that holds 60,000 years of power. Deep in Inner Mongolia, there's a place called the Bayan Obo Mining Complex. From the sky, it looks like every other massive industrial mine. Huge open pits, endless rows of trucks, mountains of processing waste stacked around the edges. Chinese workers have been digging here since the 1950s, but they weren't digging for what actually matters most in this whole story. For 70 years, this mine has been extracted for iron and rare earth elements. Everything else, including a silver-colored radioactive metal called thorium, got thrown into the waste piles as useless byproduct. Thousands of tons of it, sitting outside in massive gray hills for decades. Nobody paid attention. Chinese workers walked past piles of what would eventually become the most valuable energy resource on planet Earth, and nobody knew what was buried in front of them. Then in 2020, a team of geologists in Beijing quietly finished a survey they'd been running for years. The results were declassified in early 2025, and the numbers shocked the entire global energy industry. That one mining complex in Inner Mongolia contains an estimated 1 million tons of thorium. Just 5 years of mining waste from a single site inside the complex contains enough thorium to power every single American household for over 1,000 years. The lead researcher, senior engineer Fan Honghai from Beijing's Uranium Exploration Laboratory, put it in words that stopped scientists cold. For over a century, nations have been engaging in wars over fossil fuels. It turns out the endless energy source lies right under our feet. And Bayan Obo isn't unique. The same survey identified 233 thorium-rich zones across China, stretching from Xinjiang in the west all the way to Guangdong on the coast, the largest thorium reserves in the world. To put those numbers in perspective, every barrel of oil ever pumped in human history combined couldn't match the energy potential of what's sitting in that one Chinese mine's waste piles. 60,000 years of power from garbage nobody bothered to sort. Why this metal breaks every rule. Here's what makes thorium genuinely different from every fuel we've ever used before. Uranium, the metal that powers every commercial nuclear reactor on Earth right now, is rare. Really rare. Only certain countries have significant deposits: Australia, Kazakhstan, Canada, Russia. If you don't have uranium mines, you have to buy from someone who does. That's why nuclear power has always been a political game just as much as an engineering game. Thorium is the exact opposite of rare. According to the World Nuclear Association, thorium is 500 times more abundant in the Earth's crust than the specific type of uranium used in current reactors. It exists in every country. It sits in road gravel. It shows up in beach sand in India. It gets thrown out as garbage from rare earth mining operations worldwide. If you own a shovel and a decent piece of land, there's probably thorium underneath your feet right now. And it doesn't just exist everywhere, it's dramatically more powerful. 1 ton of thorium can produce as much energy as 200 tons of uranium, or 3.5 million tons of coal. Read that again. 1 truck of thorium equals 3.5 million truckloads of coal. Every energy math problem the world has been arguing about for a century collapses in front of that ratio. Then there's the safety story. Traditional uranium reactors need enormous cooling systems full of high-pressure water. If the cooling fail, like it did at Fukushima in 2011, the reactor overheats and melts down catastrophically. Thorium reactors work completely differently. The fuel is dissolved in a hot liquid salt that flows through the reactor. If something goes wrong, a special plug at the bottom melts on its own and the fuel drains safely into a holding tank. It physically cannot melt down. The laws of physics themselves prevent catastrophic failure. This isn't marketing. This is basic chemistry. Now imagine what this means for oil-producing countries. The entire economic argument for buying Saudi crude or Russian gas collapses if any nation on Earth can produce unlimited energy from ordinary rocks in their own backyard. The reactor, hidden in the Gobi Desert. The location is called Wuwei. Gansu Province. It's a small city in northwestern China, sitting right at the edge of the Gobi Desert. Population isn't huge. Tourism is minimal. This is the kind of place nobody outside China had heard of before 2023, which is exactly why the Chinese government chose it deliberately. Buried in the desert outside Wuwei is a machine called the TMSR LF1, long name. Simple concept. It stands for Thorium Molten Salt Reactor, Liquid Fuel, Prototype Number 1. Construction started in September 2018. Chinese engineers accelerated the timeline dramatically. The reactor was completed in August 2021, 3 years ahead of schedule. In October 2023, it achieved something scientists call criticality, the moment a sustained nuclear reaction begins. That was the first ever operational thorium molten salt reactor since Oak Ridge shut down its program 54 years earlier. By June 2024, the reactor was running at 100% operational capacity. Then in October 2024, Chinese scientists did something no nuclear engineer on Earth had ever accomplished. They refueled the reactor while it was still running. No shutdown, no cooling period. They just added fresh thorium fuel into the flowing molten salt while the reactor kept generating power. A world first, announced at a closed meeting of the Chinese Academy of Sciences. American nuclear engineers reading the announcement had to sit down. Then came November 2025, the achievement that changed everything. The scientists successfully converted thorium-232 into uranium-233 inside the running reactor. In plain English, the reactor turned one metal into a completely different metal that could keep the reaction going indefinitely. A self-sustaining loop. Feed thorium in one end, get unlimited energy out the other end, forever. The head scientist, Xu Hongjie, said one sentence at the announcement that Western nuclear engineers are still trying to process. We are now at the frontier of global nuclear innovation. Behind that polite scientific statement was a much simpler message. China had crossed a line no other country was even close to reaching. The oil industry's nightmare scenario. Now let's talk about why this makes oil executives lose sleep at night. The global oil industry is worth roughly $4 trillion per year. It employs millions of people. It funds entire countries. Saudi Arabia's economy depends on it. Over 60% of Saudi government revenue comes from oil. Russia's federal budget runs on it. American shale operators have built their entire empires around it. The whole system assumes one thing: that the world needs to keep buying oil. Thorium reactors don't just threaten that assumption, they physically break it. Here's why. A single 100 megawatt thorium reactor, the size China is planning to build by 2035, could power a mid-sized city for decades on the amount of thorium that fits inside a shipping container. No oil tankers needed, no pipeline politics, no Strait of Hormuz, no OPEC meetings that swing prices for the whole planet. No Russian gas leverage over European countries. If a country wants clean electricity for 60 years, they just need to buy one reactor and enough thorium fuel to fit in a warehouse. Chinese officials have already announced plans to export this technology worldwide. Imagine a scenario 10 years from now. Nigeria, Kenya, Indonesia, Vietnam, a country in Africa that used to import billions of dollars in oil every year, signs a single contract with China. One reactor, one shipping container of fuel, zero oil imports for 30 years. Multiply that scenario across 100 developing countries. What happens to the global oil market? The answer is what every oil executive is afraid to say publicly. It collapses. Sinopec, one of China's biggest oil refining companies, already saw its profits drop by over a third in 2025. Instead of fighting the shift, Sinopec committed nearly 800 million yuan to convert an old refinery into a clean fuel production facility. When even the oil companies start building thorium infrastructure, the message is impossible to ignore. The oil age is preparing for its own funeral, and the funeral director is Chinese. Every gas station on planet Earth is now on a countdown clock. Nobody knows exactly when it hits zero, but the timer has started ticking. The three-step plan to change the world. Chinese scientists don't hide their strategy. They've published it openly. The plan has 3 specific steps, each one designed to build on the last, and every timeline is public. Step 1 is already complete. Build the 2-megawatt experimental reactor in Wuwei. Achieve criticality, achieve continuous operation, achieve thorium to uranium fuel conversion. Every single one of those milestones has been officially hit as of November 2025. This step took about 12 years and cost approximately $444 million, pocket change compared to the American budget for uranium reactor research over the same period. Step 2 launches in 2029, build a 10-megawatt small modular demonstration reactor, prove commercial viability, establish the supply chain for reactor components, molten salt materials, and specialized alloys. This step is where the technology moves from science project to real product you can sell to other countries. Once this reactor works, China can start signing export contracts. Step 3 is where everything changes. By 2035, construction begins on 100-megawatt power stations in thorium-rich regions like Gansu and Xinjiang. Full commercialization is targeted for 2040. That's the year the technology becomes exportable at global scale, 15 years from now. Some of you watching this video will still be paying off car loans when China's exporting reactors that make oil obsolete for entire nations. And the applications aren't just electricity. The high temperatures inside thorium reactors are perfect for making clean hydrogen fuel through thermochemical processes. Perfect for producing methanol and other industrial chemicals. Perfect for desalinating seawater in dry countries. Perfect for synthesizing ammonia used in fertilizer. One reactor, dozens of uses. And here's the part that turns nervous American investors truly pale. Cargo ships powered by container-sized thorium reactors could cross oceans for years without refueling. Imagine a container ship crossing the Pacific 500 times on a single fuel load. That's what China is quietly planning. Every industry that depends on fossil fuels is now on notice. The question isn't if the change comes, the question is how fast. Why America can't catch up now? Here's the honest question everyone wants to ask. Can America catch up? The technical answer is technically yes. The practical answer is much harder. The problem is that the United States shut down its thorium research program in 1969 and never restarted it seriously. 50 years of institutional knowledge got lost. The engineers who understood the specific challenges of handling molten salt fuel are almost all retired or dead. The specialized alloys needed to build the reactor vessels haven't been produced at commercial scale in America since the Oak Ridge days. The Hastaloy tubing, the corrosion-resistant piping, the fluoride salt purification systems. None of it exists in current American factories. Building all that infrastructure from scratch takes not just money, but time. Decades of time that America doesn't have. Meanwhile, China isn't slowing down. They already control 65% of global electrolyzer production. They dominate rare earth element processing. They lead the world in solar panel manufacturing. They now hold the only operational thorium reactor on Earth. Every piece of the future clean energy supply chain runs through Chinese factories, Chinese patents, Chinese engineering expertise. The head start America gave away in 1969 has now compounded into a lead measured in decades. The truly painful part for American energy strategy is that the fundamental research was done in America. The breakthroughs came from American laboratories. The scientists whose papers made all of this possible were American citizens paid by American taxpayers. Then Washington made a strategic decision in 1969 to prioritize weapons over energy, and every subsequent administration failed to reverse that decision. 50 years of political neglect. Now, the technology is Chinese in every practical sense that matters for global influence. The Beijing-based geologist who led the thorium survey put it in words nobody in Washington wants to hear. Repeated. Every nation has thorium. Imagine cargo ships powered by container-sized reactors crossing oceans for years without refueling. That's not a hypothetical scenario anymore. That's a Chinese export strategy for the year 2040. And America has no realistic answer to it. One reactor, 60,000 years of fuel, zero oil dependency, zero meltdown risk, zero geopolitical leverage from countries that used to run the world. This is the biggest quiet revolution in modern energy history. And it's happening right now while most Western media covers it as a footnote. 50 years ago, America invented the technology and threw it away. Now China has picked it up, perfected it, and is about to sell it to the entire developing world. The $4 trillion oil industry doesn't have a plan for this. Saudi Arabia doesn't have a plan for this. Russia doesn't have a plan for this. The question isn't whether the oil age is ending anymore. The question is which country writes the rules of what comes next. And right now, the answer isn't America. Drop your prediction in the comments below.